Hello, all my co-workers here tonight. Hope you guys are all doing well. Did any of you watch the news related to Gamescom today? I actually checked it out a bit earlier. Just usually I don't really, let's say, attend or watch streams of game announcements or shows, even like Nintendo Direct and stuff. But I thought it'd be interesting to kind of check out the lineup for Gamescom today. Overall, I have to say, not interested in most of the games that I saw there. It was a lot of shooters, a lot of like military tank shooter type games that didn't really pique my interest because I don't really usually play those. Though I mean, like, the ones that kind of stood out to me the most were probably Densha Attack and Silent Hill F. Densha Attack, because I thought it looked really fun and full of whimsy, which is kind of what I like to see in games. It's so over the top, so silly looking that it actually does look like it'd be a really fun game to try out. It's just like the whole premise of it is really crazy in general, with the idea of these, I guess I don't know if you're a train or you're operating a train, but then you're like going on the tracks and all the stuff is coming at you. But anyways, looks really colorful, looks really fun. So that one kind of attracted my attention the most. And then the second being Silent Hill F, because the Silent Hill games are interesting. I've only really ever watched gameplay of Silent Hill 2. That's also one, probably only Silent Hill I've tried to play, but I was really bad at it at the time. But Silent Hill F looks really intriguing, especially now that it's being written by the same creator of Higurashi. And Higurashi, I read the manga for it, and it's pretty crazy, the storyline, and I feel like I have to go back and read it again numerous times just to follow all the different connecting plots. So I have high hopes for all the weird stuff and storyline twists that we're gonna get in Silent Hill F. Plus, you know, the horror ambiance. Whether I'll play it, it's gonna be... I'll have to see, because I'm not very great at playing survival horror. Like, I'm just really bad at running and attacking monsters. Hence, I end up playing more psychological horrors instead. But who knows? Maybe when it comes out, I'll be interested in trying out the game myself. But in any case, tonight we are going to be playing Of the Devil. So from what I've seen of it so far in the trailer and images, that it just looks like Ace Attorney mixed in with Cyberpunk and mixed in with Danganronpa, especially, I guess. Well, one of the menu parts I saw, it just looked like Danganronpa during the classroom trials. But we shall start and see what is in store for us. I know there's several episodes in this game, and so we're just going to be playing through the prologue today. Yeah, episode 0. And there's episode 1. So we'll go through episode 0 today. Rain sizzles off neon above me. The summer shower creates a noted uptick in the flickering of holograms down the street, and a slight blunting of the night's ambiance. Emphasis on slight. Lights, cameras, and constant noise. The city's got insomnia, with the uneven heart rate to prove it. There's no escaping the secondhand nervous energy of it all, but I'm plenty acclimated. There we go. Just a wave of worries cresting on the surface while I hold my breath deep below. Besides, a microdose of nightlife anxiety suits my mood just fine. Because if I'm not careful, this client of mine's gonna die in jail. Okay, and that's us. We're Morgan, a criminal attorney. It's hard to get away with murder these days. People are still presumed innocent, at least on paper. But by the time they're in cuffs, there's hardly any shadows of doubt left. Because this whole world's lit up, mapped out, never on loan, and always online. Whether it's incandescent or neon or hollow, whether it's LCD, LED, or just the nearest phone screen, there's light shining on every last pixel of the map. And someone's always watching. Solitude's a rarity, anonymity is scarce, and criminal defense attorneys aren't exactly flushed with customers. So you take whatever clients you can get. You don't balk at public defender work, no matter the hour. And should you find yourself in one of those last dark quiet corners left in the whole world, well, smoke 'em if you got 'em. Not that there's much else I can do until... My phone? Counselor, your public defender contract has been approved. You're expected at the 254 precinct. Present your ID at the door to enter. Arrive at least 15 minutes early. I'll try. Heart emoji. Looks like the paperwork came through. It's nearly 3:15 now. 90 minutes since I took the job. Probably makes about 2 hours since they finally got smart enough to ask for a lawyer. If they're really smart, they'll have used that time to get some rest. Because now that I'm here, things are going to get busy. Episode 0. And he shall appear. Disable tutorials. I'm gonna enable them because I've never actually played this game before, and I would like to know what I'm doing. Precinct 254. It's a goddamn ghost town. But nothing but a hologram for a welcoming party. I'm here about a homicide. High clearance rates be damned. You'd think they'd treat it with a little bit more gravitas. But whatever. If I'm that unimportant, they've got no right to complain if I take my sweet time getting checked in. And I should take my time. Information's like cash in my line of work. You gotta spend it to make it. And if you're flat broke, no one will give a shit about what you have to say. So let's see if I can't poke around and shake some change loose. Press the phone button or tap the phone icon, access the pause menu. Okay. Okay, so we just gotta examine everything here. Let me look at my phone though. Wow, I feel like the sound effects in this game are really loud. Let me adjust that. High roller mode. Okay, return. Let's go and see. Inspect this. Pragmatic brutalism. Read. A data pad. I'll buy. Even when they're more advertisement than article, they can still be informative. In a flowery, roundabout, corporate propaganda sort of way. Keep an eye out for articles. They offer insight on the world around you and credit towards your investigation. Okay. Articles added to your phone's reading list after you first read them. Choose a proper takeaway after reading them and you'll earn additional bonus credit too. Oh wow. Subway fixes axed. Steady to refocus on canopy. Declaring the subway tunnels to be irreparably flooded, city engineers announced this week that all plans to drain and repair the system are being suspended indefinitely. Saltwater damage. Civil engineering efforts will be refocused on maintenance and expansion of the hybrid super infrastructure system that weaves together trams, highways, walkways, and skyscrapers into the canopy. Oh wow. Online chatter, investigations into Councilman Long's campaign finance irregularities. Okay. But all of them putting the paywall there. As if I'd reach for my wallet after having to read a word like aesthetical. Besides, I got the gist of it. The takeaway that the city will be focusing efforts on. Canopy. There'll be increased scrutiny surrounding the canopy now that there's no plan B. It's a massive project with a massive budget. Lines the pockets of a lot of people, big and small. None of them would appreciate bad press at the moment. Not when the councilman Long's already thoroughly chummed the waters. Check out this glitchy. The medium's cracked in the corner. Looks bad, but my phone's made of the same stuff, and I'm rolling the dice every time it falls off the sofa. Probably know the warranty of these things with a loud sneeze. At least it's not broken entirely. It looks like the usual 1-to-1 ratio of public health alerts. Few missing persons. 1 year of civil plan coverage courtesy of Medusius as a reward. Family must be getting desperate. Okay, there's some missing people. Actual police lineup. It's like I walked into a museum. The museums tend to feel expensive and clean. Homicide's department's more like an attic. Hard to believe they were ever so busy that they had witnesses making IDs in the lobby. Then again, it's hard to believe they were ever doing lineups in the first place. Morgan, here for the public defender contract. Will you please provide your name and... Great! Please stand still for a moment. I wouldn't call Intake Hollow charming. More like harmless. But that's probably what the designers were aiming for. People don't mind a quirk or two in their text so long as it never speaks out the truth. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble placing you. Could you please provide your name and date of birth? So far so good, was it? Just scan my card. Say, why don't we just scan my ID card? Great! Now can you just confirm your date of birth for me? Why do you even bother asking? My birthday's on the damn ID card and my profile. I'd be a world-class airhead to get this question wrong. I guess I have to look at my stuff. Morgan. We are born December 26th, 175 centimeters. Likes puzzles, smoking, and wooden furniture, but dislikes commercials, hairdressers, and jogging. Talent can fall asleep in any position, but drinks decaf coffee. Okay. How do you fuel your energy levels then if you don't drink coffee? December 26th. Perfect. Good morning, Morgan Counselor. Thank you for your timely arrival and for taking on the public defender contract. If you're ready to speak to your client, you can proceed to counseling quarter 3C. Is that what we're calling it now? You mean the interrogation room? I'm sorry to have caused any confusion. My vocabulary is regularly updated to better reflect state standards. Don't sweat it. I can't keep track of every new euphemism either. They could call it the involuntary wellness check room if they like. It doesn't change the way it makes a person feel, sitting in a stifled box of one-way panels. Nothing to see but their own reflection, dully warped across gunmetal walls. Morgan Counselor, can I help you with anything else? Oh, okay. Choices select countdown. You're unlocked additional choice. Okay. Basically, we must inspect every nook and cranny. Why did this repair? I know the city's not terribly concerned with lower wards, but this is a police station. Why is it so goddamn dusty?
The facility is currently undergoing renovations.
Since when? The 60s?
Has been 22 months. Since the timetable was last updated.
They really don't see a lot of action around there here, do they?
I'm sorry for any inconvenience you might have encountered.
I'm adaptable. What about you? They ever gonna fix that crack?
Thank you for asking. It has not interfered with my work.
Well, that's all that matters, right? So where exactly are you?
I'm a smart user interface proudly sold by Noble Electronics. Thank you for asking. If you're interested, I could send you a link with information about our subscription packages. Should I send you a link with information about our subscription packages?
No. Sorry. That was a mean question to ask. That'll be all, thank you.
You'll find the counseling quarters past our homicide detective's office, through the door to your right.
Thanks. But I think it's just me for now, so you can go on break if you like.
Automated dependents do not take breaks, Morgan Counselor.
Then what were you doing before I walked in? Oh wow. Ads don't get breaks and they don't get my jokes. But it's usually the humorless types that are the most fun to mess with anyway. A voice. No. Voices coming from down the hall. Thank God I stopped for directions. A building this empty, the desk could have just told me to follow the echoes. One voice sounds older, rougher, and decidedly low energy. While the other rings with youthful indignation. Definitely cops. And at this hour, they might be the only two living, breathing people in the whole complex. No red carpet tonight, officers? Good cop. Oh, sorry about that, ma'am. We don't keep many extra hands around at these hours. Probably faster to let the desk handle intake anyway. But mostly cheaper. You the lawyer? I am.
Morgan Esquire, pleased to meet you.
Same here, counselor. Was in London. And a ball of sunshine here is my partner, Farrah Rays. Ball of sunshine? She certainly is. Huh? Sorry if you're kept waiting. Chatter between the departments has been hectic all night. It's no trouble. Gave me time to enjoy my cigarette. Cigarette? Like tobacco? Why are you, 80? She can't be more than a few years younger than me. Pretty sure I've seen this London character around the courthouses before. He never struck me as more than just some old-timer. But I suppose being an old-timer is an accomplishment in and of itself in his profession.
Sunshine is definitely a new face though. Rigid in her posture and her attitude. 3 in the morning and her shirt still looks ironed. Freshly promoted, maybe? 2 whole detectives working at these hours? Sounds serious. Unless you were just the first person to arrive on the scene. Calls, plural. Must have been quite the commotion. Not very subtle, is she? But I may as well bite at this point. So you suspect that this client of mine is involved in some separate criminal activity? That's the heartbreak killer. I'm not feeling particularly kind or smart at the moment. So perhaps in the meantime, you'll be so polite as to fill me in about this heartbreak killer. Never heard of him. I've heard enough of him for a lifetime. That name has been plastered all over the city for weeks. The crimes wavering between breaking news and urban legend. The presumed goals flip-flopping from unadulterated anarchy to unappreciated vigilantism. Street corners, in the media, on the net. Everyone's indulging in the exact kind of armchair detective speculation that I can't stand. But right now, I need to figure out exactly how much the police do or don't know. And when it comes to cops, I always get better results playing dumb than I do acting smart. I take it he's a repeat offender? One bullet straight to heart. Body left to die where it falls. Hence the name Heartbreak. Not exactly creative, but amidst the swirl of every other 100-word article out there, catchiness trumps originality. Horrible to say, I know, but 6 for 6? That's pretty good shooting, isn't it? Sounds robotic. You almost make him sound like a machine. It's possible that no such thing as killer robot. Of course, my mistake. So all those androids marching in the military, those robots patrolling in police uniforms, those drones dropping firebombs from the sky. I guess they're all firing blanks. Right. That's a pretty terrifying thought. I should really start paying more attention to the news. Oh, I managed to miss 6 murders. Pardon? So you're convinced that my client is his heartbreak killer, and tonight was just his latest crime. That's a serious accusation with very serious consequences. I take it you have serious evidence to back that up? Well, that's not good, is it? What you say certainly sounds compelling. But even if that's the case, How does one crime scene make him look good for 6 murders?
The ARCs, discovery files.
Join the local net on your phone. Okay, we gotta figure that out. I'll bet. Thanks for that, detective. I'll be sure to read it over. But if it's all the same, could I ask you two some questions while I've got you here?
This kind of attorney,
you're just that pleasant.
Intero, you mean the counseling quarters? Oh.
Well, let's go inspect some stuff. Must be Ray's desk.
A single multiple personalization.
Both maybe. No time to unpack.
You shouldn't have cleaned up so much just for little old me, Detective London. Someone really needs to introduce this guy to a filing system. Oh wow, more. Latest noble androids receive warm welcome. Investors were skeptical when their now infamous 2084 trade convention announced the first 16 line would be first generation of androids to feature over 50% organic components. So-called warm androids, which at the time only saw demand in the health, senior, and childcare sector. They were looked upon as impractical due to increased maintenance costs, cuts, scratches, bruises, and the like. If you're the noble, is alienating its customers in the industrial and military sectors in order to cater to civilian consumers. Noble Dower is proved wrong. The Animate 16 is poised to break profitability records. Describe their remarkable, lifelike lead programmer is called Dr. David Asher. Because of the turn solution, every noble product is so beloved and trusted by our customers. Huh. Yay, cool. So we do have robots. Especially not when the state's involved. Don't know if they'll bite when it comes to warm androids though. For government use, they're just too frail. All androids undergo wear and tear, especially the directing traffic or suppressing crowds. So these warm, androids bleed pink all over themselves every time they take a rock to the cheek. It's just an endless stream of bad photo ops waiting to happen. Just not durable. Guess that's the last thing to observe is back there. Loose wires, missing panels, an aircon system that probably sweats more than the people it's supposed to cool. Everything just looks like pretty much like a dump in here. Okay, well, nothing else jumped out. Been granting access to state files. Okay, cool. Okay. If I project my phone. Man, this download file takes a while. Oh, cool. We have an AR crime scene. Alright, so let's see what the police have and what they think is important. Oh, I guess I'm just gonna inspect more here. Okay. Victim's body, cause of death. Ballistic trauma, class 4, blood loss, atrium and aorta. Single gunshot wound to the heart and brief. Death was instantaneous. No injuries anywhere else, and no blood or skin under her nails. Blood splatter, forensics, and all the other good stuff tells them that she was shot from there. So the killer was standing in the doorway when he fired. When they fired, I guess. Stand-up mirror, shattered and knocked over. Real glass, no screens or cameras here. It was hit hard. Hard enough to come untouched from its arm. While shards of glass were scattered far enough to land on the victim's body. Why mess? I was like, where was this mirror before? I'm guessing this mirror was probably propped up higher and then fell. What's that? The gun. A revolver found right next to the body. 6 empty casings found in each of the 6 chambers, meaning the gun's been fired 6 times. Looks like the crime scene techs practically disassembled the damn thing. But all they found were fingerprints belonging to my client. So he was found by the police with the murder weapon right in front of the body. I don't even know where to start. Highly prejudicial would be understatement. Seems like this vase got tossed aside at some point, and yet there's not a scratch on it. Must be pretty damn durable. Isn't art supposed to be delicate? Maybe it's making a statement. That's all the big ticket items. About security. Looks like the apartment was unlocked all night. It's not uncommon for people their age in a neighborhood like this. But no signs of forced entry only hurts my client's case. All the rest of the room. There's not much else flagged here. There's a lounge chair that got thrown and whatever that is. Unidentified ceramic debris? Flag is irrelevant? That's their technical assessment? I guess they weren't even sure what to make of it. Okay, that's everything the police highlighted. But did I miss anything? Did I miss anything? I just want to check. What is that? Something in the victim's hand. Oh, it's just a pill organizer. Looks like some immune adjusters, NSAIDs, and triprexazone, some synthetic glucocorticoid medication. Reduce rejection symptoms like phantom pain and generalized itch. No out of place DNA, footprints, crumbs, nothing that points to anyone except the client. Well, I'm really gonna have to think for my supper this time. Better get started. Who the hell is messaging me at this time of night? First person who comes to mind is, I suppose it could be something important. Currently texting with Brat. Got a job. Phishing scheme. I need you to sue my gym teacher. Not that kind of liar, sorry. Oh wow, they even set the selfie. So whoever this person is called Brat. I mean, I like their color scheme. We got the blonde hair. Oh, you know, she looks kind of like Kaede from Dangan Ronpa B3 with the color scheme anyways. What kind of homicide? Old-fashioned murder like Hardy B is quaint. Go to bed, Fran. Okay. So call him Fran, even though we have listed them as Brat. Oh, what? She's gotta go to school on Saturday? That sucks. So then, if you wouldn't mind filling me in on a few details. Look at my profile. Heartbreak, Morgan, London, Reyes. Doesn't really tell her what age she is. Okay. I was just curious how old she would be. Androids and cops. By the way, I couldn't help but notice you're light on staff. 3 in the morning, we're expecting a parade. I thought there'd be at least a few androids around. Contracts at Noble? Hardly, they're the biggest. Yes, we're very fortunate to have them headquartered here. Yet. With your warm personality, I can't imagine. Flesh and blood witnesses are becoming less and less common anyways, because I guess with all the state surveillance. Union have specified the only real union there is anyway. I mean, yeah, everything just sounds like a setup for some corporate dystopian setting where it's just like everything is super concrete, brutalism type architecture. We're just gonna get androids and robots for everything. How about the basics? What exactly has my client been charged with? Carlos Baker Flat, that's his name, okay. Arrested at 9:50 p.m. Using his middle name already, they really do think he's a serial killer. First degree murder of his girlfriend, Diane Dawn. First degree. Nocturnals like that aren't renowned for their ability to think ahead. What makes you think this was premeditated? Oh, the fact that he stalked and killed 5 other women as a warm-up? I mean... a warm-up? Well, this serial killer chose his victims at random. They had nothing in common. They all look like cousins? Oh, all 5 prior victims are young women with brown hair and eyes. Brown hair, brown eyes. Can't tell how tall she is, but we can take a guess. If the shoe fits. Okay, so they're just projecting. I mean, not the worst theory in the world. But it doesn't fit. They want to claim that those previous victims were practice runs, dress rehearsals, for tonight's main event. But that was the case, there have been signs of hesitation, nerves. There had been mistakes. On top of which, guns are impersonal, execution shots, even more so. There's no sadism or hatred or intimacy in a single bullet to the heart. Killing your girlfriend or her lookalikes usually is, if nothing else, a lot less sterile. If you ask me. What's the timeline? So they interviewed witnesses. Sounds eerily similar to real police work, you know, because they're actually cops. It's part of their job to do this. They were arguing loudly with one another starting around 8 p.m. Neighbors were very clear about that. Everyone in the building knew they'd been fighting for weeks. Furniture turned over, glass shattered. Things go quiet sometime before 9. But we heard enough from enough concerned citizens to be pretty damn sure about the time. Okay. Wow, they got there in like 10 minutes. Sorry, did they say his hand singular? How modded are we talking about here? You can crush your neck without even gritting his teeth. Cool. No, it's not that. It's just... Your eye must be very sensitive for you to put the patch back on each time. And here I thought you just had a 14-year-old sense of passion. When did he put his arm in for repairs? 8 days before the first victim. Okay. Well, no chance they'll be willing to chalk that up to coincidence. A revolver? What kind? Caliber? How retro? No tags. How is that? Okay, so I guess it's a super old gun? Tags that make shooting crimes very unambiguous. Okay, because I guess it just tracks everything like some device that literally the equivalent of tracking your login, except instead of logging into the gun, you're just firing bullets from it. model year 2054. 30-year-old gun. Okay, cool. So they all match the one gun. Rightfully works. Okay, cool. So this is the literal murder weapon. An untagged gun just being anywhere near a weapon like that could warrant your arrest. Being found by police over a dead body with an untagged gun used at 5 other crime scenes is just... To summarize, Dan, you believe that my client fought verbally, then physically with his girlfriend, and then he retrieved his weapon and shot her. How did he look when the officers found him? Guilty. How was his effect? That reaction may have lost in points to the cops. Beyond that, people react to loss in all kinds of unusual ways. And so long as the police are suspicious of you, there is no right way to grieve. Well, checking my phone here, and I have to say, you've done a pretty admirable job keeping the details of HK crimes a secret. The less reputable sites are doing some real journalistic acrobatics trying to piece together a story. Can you blame them though? I mean, he's a genuine serial killer. Repeat offenders in general are endangered species, but he's gotten away with. Take a look around us, detectives. National DNA registry is robust enough that cases never go cold. Cameras on every street, a phone on every citizen. Violent crime at an all-time low and clearance rates at all-time highs. No, I'm not. People are safer now than at any other time in history, detectives. So when someone like Heartbreak does come along... but pressure from the higher-ups must be reaching its peak. They want, maybe need, to see someone charged, and that makes them predictable. And why is that? Oh, none of the shootings are caught, okay. How is that even possible? I know there's some rough areas in the lower wards, but Optics is watching every other street in the entire city. You're saying you haven't seen this killer on camera once? Sign up to feed it, okay. One would hope so. That chance. Deterrents are for war rooms and board meetings. Anyone crazy or desperate enough to commit a crime in a city like this couldn't care less about anything as vague as the consequences of their actions. I see. They have mentioned that my client was a cop, and he wouldn't have needed a public defender either. The file says he's modded for heavy mass manipulation, not tech interfacing. So that just leaves city planning. So does he work in construction for the city? Wait, so you're saying when this woman was killed?
Oh, what about DNA from other crime scenes? Was my client a match?
No footage and no forensics. Finally, a lucky break for the boys in blue. I mean, maybe your actual killer is like a robot, an android. I mean, androids and robots don't have any DNA associated with them, right? So maybe have like some rogue android or something going around killing people.
So was my client on the list of suspects before tonight? In other words, the only thing they could have to link my client to those killings is the murder weapon. I can jostle that keystone, then the rest of the case should start to come loose as well. Thanks for the chat, detectives. I think I understand the background well enough now. Candidly, I see the same strokes you do, and the picture it paints isn't pleasant. But even so, it seems a bit unrefined to be brought before a judge, don't you think? And why is that? Oh. Well, that's, unexpected. I'm sorry, you're now telling me that he wrote a confession? That's a bit verified.
Oh wow, okay. I have to manage somehow. I need to see this confession for myself. Oh wow, okay. Okay. That was difficult to read. Very legible, in fact. No need. Not a confession that he signed, though, is it? And not one he intends to sign anytime soon, considering that he has asked for representation. Hardly. I just happened to be awake when the call went out. I'm not so flush with work that I can't afford to turn tail now. So if you don't mind, I'd like to go and speak with my client. What? He's not still handcuffed in there, is he? It's kind of you to worry, but I doubt I'll be in any danger. None of them were redheads. Seriously though, I'd like to speak with him alone now. Camera's off, if you don't mind. Not worry about me? How chivalrous. Not a bad idea. I do get paid either way. But the defense part of defense attorney isn't just for show, detective. A virtual work release program. Well, prison sentences are generally lighter for those who plead guilty, that much is true. It saves the courts a great deal of time and money, and they show their gratitude to reduce sentencing. But no one will ever be grateful towards the heartbreak killer. Anyone convicted for killing 6 people, they'll never rest their mind another day in their life. 3:35 a.m. on June 5th in the year 2086. I do kind of like the art and colors in the game here. It's certainly its own uniqueness, distinguished from other games. It's depressing as hell in here. They need to liven this place up. Carlos flat, right? Hope you don't mind if I get comfortable. We've got a lot to cover, but this shouldn't take all night. I'm not a cop, Carlos. Further sting from it. I'm a lawyer. You're a lawyer, in fact. And I'm here to help you. It's not their job to help you, Carlos. But it is mine, and I'm here now. He's still in shock. I need more information, but I approach this the wrong way, he'll just clam up even more. I'm sure you're exhausted. It's probably difficult to think, let alone speak. But I'd like you to try and answer a few questions. Questioned you, I'm sure. But they were treating you as a suspect, not as a client. Well, let's talk about you, Carlos. Let's start simple, something mundane, grounded, rote. I'd like to know a bit more about your first, Carlos. Something like, what line of work are you in? City engineering. Ooh, it kind of lines up. As I thought, the police must be convinced he mapped the optics blackouts using data he stole from work. Carlos, I'm gonna need more than that. What do I know? He works in city engineering, not a desk job. Ray says he was bought for work in that arm. He must be in custody at the moment, but based on his shoulder, it'd have to be pretty utilitarian. I mean, it's gotta be for like heavy duty work. No, he's pragmatic, grounded, and very unlucky. In which case, I should be too. You know, my brother wanted to mod. Really? I don't even have a brother. He had everything planned out, a whole career path of promotions and bonuses, and the upgrades tailored for him. Then came his 18th birthday present. Test results politely informing him that he's not a viable candidate. I think he felt relieved, actually. Seemed like it was a weight off his chest. Like he was glad he didn't have to choose. Does that make any sense? Got shit canned. Oh no. The new Citizens with Disabilities Act was amended, not repealed. I doubt he appreciates the distinction at the moment. Well, he's speaking freely now. Don't need to do much more than repeat his words back to him to keep him talking. But the right word choice here or there can still make a difference. You work on the canopy. You must be... strong. Good with heights. Under a lot of pressure. Now that the subways are cordoned off. No room for engineering. I'm trying very hard not to look at his shoulder. Why aren't you wearing your prosthetic right now, Carlos? Oh, rejection. Did the therapy not take? Man, we are learning so many terms here. Let's take a look at some of these. Oh my god. IoT mod. What's a mod theory? Oh, okay. Adjusting human mind and body for unique challenges and stresses. I mean, I guess that's kind of like with Cyberpunk. People going under like different mods and installments. I guess it would take a toll on the human body. Oh, right-handed. It cuts it from shaving. Oh, where do you turn it in? Doesn't sound like you're a happy customer. Oh, okay. The manufacturer decides where your arm gets maintenance. You can buy or rent a replacement yourself, just in the meantime. Indie. How Industries? These are sure when they're habilis models. Okay. You mentioned discomfort. Are you in pain? Well, that sucks with his arm. I mean, that's also kind of messed up too. Be like, sorry guys, I can't work. I gotta bring my arm into the shop, you know, get some fine tuning there, get it repaired just like you would a car. When she died, when you were arrested. Well, I guess Detective Ray was being quite literal about how he was found. He had the victim's blood on his left arm only, because at the time in question, he didn't even have a right. No inconsistencies in the story so far, and he's opened up about as well as can be expected. This has all just been a warm-up for the both of us. Now comes the delicate part. Carlos, you and the victim were romantically involved. And I should probably save my game. In case I mess things up here. How long did you two know each other? It always takes them a few tries to get used to using past tense. Practically headhunted. Her career was starting to pan out. Right as yours has fallen into the mother of all slums. Where was she hired? That doesn't narrow it down. The Harvest Corporation grows 1/3 of the soybeans and corn in the entire country. We do get a lot of information. This is a... I mean, in terms of world building, there is a lot of terms and stuff in this game so far. I mean, it's kind of interesting, but it is a lot to keep up with. One client that size, the lab wouldn't need any others. Now, no corporation earns the mega prefix without a little throat cutting, but Harco is about as tame as big business can get. Predictable like the seasons. No one's gonna buy that they had some lab tech murdered because of corporate greed. Had she adjusted well to her new job? She never mentioned arguments or disputes, corporate politics getting rough. That was a long shot, hoping for a disgruntled character from her past to shift blame onto. But with no other suspects, I can't just reshuffle the detective's suspicions. I'll have to disprove their argument entirely. Thank you, Carlos. That was very helpful. Now, I'd like you to try and tell me wherever you can about what happened tonight. Start at the beginning, and take your time. The details are important. Morgan. When you're ready. The reports say you're arguing around 8 p.m. Oh, and then he left. You left? Of course, the air wasn't fresh, just human. Did you bring your phone with you or any other electronics? Well then, with optics down, traffic and street level cameras won't help him. That leaves... Did you go through a checkpoint or talk to anyone with modded eyes? Did you buy anything, cash or credit? Not even a damn vending machine, huh? I may have met my match. How can anyone be this unlucky? That's quite unfortunate. Optics is what? Can that even happen? And there's no other proof that you were out at the time Diana was killed. Meaning you've got no alibi. The music's starting to sound like Dangan during like the investigations or the courtroom trials. It's got the same vibe to it. Carlos, I'm the one person you don't have to try and convince. After all, I'm your lawyer. So let's just get it all out there and see what we've got to work with. Now you said you left to clear your head. So what made you come back? We live on the first floor, right? Is that why you picked it up?
why do you hear a lot of lies? White lies, blatant lies, hasty lies, bad lies especially. For me, it's always been easy to spot a lie, but it can be hard to know what to do about it. I have all the proof I need in my files, but he's nervous and defensive. And none of this works if he doesn't trust me. You did touch the gun, Carlos. That's just a fact, and we know because of your prints. The fact that your fingerprints are on that gun. Carlos, all I'm saying is that you picked it up. That's all. Well, that explains how his prints got on the gun. Not in a way that would satisfy the police. Still, if all he did was hold the gun... You were in shock, Carlos. You still are. Carlos, you admit to having a verbal argument with Diane, but you say you were surprised to see your room trashed when you got back. To clarify, you're saying you two never had a physical fight? They assumed as much, which means they also assumed the room was disheveled well before the shooting occurred. Considering what Carlos had told me, what else did they assume? I'd like you to take a look at something for me. The crime scene. It's an AR module built from data taken as police entered, so... It's just data, Carlos. No grisly details. Take your time. Oh wow, they actually did more details of this. That's how the police found things. Now close your eyes and think back to how the room looked when you left. Try and focus on what's out of place. I'll take notes. You just say whatever comes to mind. The clock was still on the wall. I see. Like so? What's wrong? Something out of place? Carlos, you need to trust your instinct. If anything seems off, don't be afraid to speak up. Well, I suppose that works too. Your drawing was so shitty. We couldn't even tell what's happening. I'd like to change the subject now, Carlos. No need to point out how crappy I am as an artist. I'm a lawyer, not an artistic person. This is just a note to self. Pardon? Carlos, you say in a note that you hurt them? Her fidget tubbies? Her what? Her what? Her what? Her fidget tubbies, oh my god. They look like the Sylvain family toys. Conversation starters. It's collectibles. Okay, it said that he did break her frigid duckies with his replacement arm. What does that change? Nothing at the moment.
Not enough detail in the note for me to prove what his intent was when he sat down to write it. But the police insist on claiming his confession for the heartbreak killings anyways. Alright, Carlos. Thanks for answering my questions. I'm going to call the police back in here and I'm going to get this cleared up for you. That's it. Although, before I do that, I do have to ask. What do you know about the heartbreak killer? Police kept the victim's appearances far away from any upstanding news sources. Unless he was already following the murders, Carlos wouldn't notice any resemblance to his girlfriend. If he just slow on the uptake, it's gonna be a real shock when those officers walk in here and accuse him of being a serial killer. I just have to squash that theory as quickly and as definitively as possible. Now it's 4 a.m. It sounds like the smoke just comes out in pixels. Oh wow, smoking a non-smoke. Okay, she's gotta pay a fee for it. It's like an immediate fine. No, of course not. It would be my first homicide defense, though. Why does everyone think the first time's so goddamn important? Hey, cheer up. I've got relevant experience in other areas. You ever gamble, Carlos? I meant more like playing cards. Could've fooled me. Well, what I do is a lot like poker, Carlos. Poker's nice because even if you're dealt nothing but crap all night long, you can still win. Which makes things pretty fun. I like to think so. And are you lucky? Only when the stakes are high. If only. No, the state's more like a house. Yes. You're very good at it. Winning, I mean. That's why they're up there and we're down here. That's why they're the house. We play the cards we're dealt as best we can. Win more hands than we lose. Keep it up and eventually someone will come over and tap the dealer on the shoulder and whisper something in their ear. And then we'll be politely asked to leave. The house always wins. So our definition of victory is more like, don't lose. Just leave all the talking to me. You know there's a saying about gamblers with strategies? Well, only fair since the ones who end up having to actually prove the damn thing. Most of them prefer simple guilty pleas over long, protracted trials. And they all dislike having their time wasted. Unfortunately, Daniel will have to call them back. Because my client is not guilty. And frankly, I'm not even sure you have enough to hold him here. I'm very serious when it comes to defending a man's innocence, detective. His written confession, let's start there. The thrust of every argument starts with the facts. What's already known and agreed upon. Public knowledge for every player at the table. Now those are the facts, but I've been building up my hand all night. Yeah, all the evidence that we have on hand. Oh. Whoa. Murder weapon. Well, it's probably the ceramic crap, whatever. Oh my god, how do I? Oh yeah, ceramic crap near western window.
We're simply apologizing for this. I found myself asking that exact same question. The diagram of the room is created from data you captured, right?
No, it's anything out of place. Well, I busted shit for sure. But we're just looking at this crap on the ground here. The unidentified ceramic debris found on the western side of the room. Actually, that's not possible. Because that vase, it wasn't damaged. The lady at the garage sale told me it's so old and delicate. I am, because that pile of rubber is all that remains of the victim's collection of fidget bob. Fidget tack. Fidget tubbies. What he said. Whatever la boo boo fidget tubbies that she's got in her room. Mr. Flat broke the victim's ceramic figures by accident, and this impassioned note to self was just his attempt at scripting out an apology. As much as I wish we weren't. We're all in agreement that our client wrote that note, and we all plainly see that there's ceramic debris at the crime scene. Now, since it couldn't have come from the vase, it must have come from the collectibles. Simple, right? Not a bad train of thought, but I can do better. No, those collectibles were destroyed much earlier than that, and there's proof. Like that, it's like, note, found, shaky. The note. But then you have whoever, oh my god. I feel like it needs to be laid out a little better. It's hard for me to grab the other cards. Oh my god. If not, you'll need a dusty fidget tubbies here in police custody. Let's take a closer look at the rental he took into custody. One swipe of your finger should show exactly how devastating it was to the fickle buddy ecosystem. Whatever. You did take into custody. I'm sure your text found ceramic debris on it, yes? Overjoyed, because even a cheap arms got an operating system that logged the last time it was worn, right? See, I happened to spot a footnote in the lab. Oh, okay. The rental had been used since the AM. Oh, thank you for your service. Oh, it's not great at fidget tubby. Okay. What? After that's not panic you're seeing on that page. No, the only reason it looks that way it does is Carlos. He is right-handed. It's because he had to use his left hand to write it. So it looks bad. And here are the facts. We found your client at the scene of the crime, wearing a coat covered in the victim's blood. Right next to a big old gun. Yes. That's right, that coat is. Trying to bait me in her typical low-key fashion. Oh, okay. You must have something. No sense playing into it. Something you'd like to ask me, detective? Wow, look at this. Justice blind stay. He doesn't wear out or race. I kind of like this these graphics that kind of pop up during this session here. Gee, Carlos, do you? There's no evil twin. No, I'm afraid not. To prove his innocence, I will need to get there eventually. But going there now without hard evidence? I can't prove it. I can't prove a third party, not yet. Clear day. It's obvious you had something there. I wasn't going to win that hand either way. But at least I didn't overstep and take any more damage than I had to. We're not contesting any of that, detective. My client freely admits to holding that gun. He picked up in confusion after coming home to find a brutal crime scene. Which is not smart. But not illegal either. Yes, he did. Do you have those clothes on hand, by the way? It'll be easier to just show you. Would you mind getting them for me? Just relax, Carlos. You're innocent. And that means having more evidence will always help you, not hurt you. Really? Not really. Plenty of innocent people in prison. People with bad luck. Or bad lawyers. People shouldn't count on the truth to come out easily. More often than not, it takes coaxing. Yep, that's a bloody Koa, right? One bloodstained jacket, fresh from the lab. No. That would be silly. Sorry, I just got turned off by the turn of good fortune. You should thank the detective for bringing you your jacket, Carlos. She's just proven your innocence. My client was arrested wearing this coat. He would have been wearing it at the time of the murder. It has the victim's blood on it, who we know died when she was shot in the heart. By a gun that happens to be an old world pre-tagging firearm. And so this coat proves he couldn't have been the shooter. I mean, if you're shooting a gun and you're facing the person, the blood splatter would be on your chest and not on one arm. That's what I'm thinking. Sense happens to be key here. I just need to draw their attention to what they can. Melt coat. See, you can feel the coat with your hands. You can see on the coat with your eyes. Tell me what you see. Wait, I lost credits? Come on. That's not gonna work. The truth is playing in there, but this is the kind of detail you can see with your naked eye. What you can feel on the coat with your hands. What you can smell on the coat with your nose. I mean, I can't believe I lost credits for that. I feel like the blood splatters doesn't even make sense. Okay, let's see what he was wearing. I mean, it could be... You can feel on the coat, it feels like blood. Or what smell like. I say smell? Just do me one favor, detective. Tell me what you smell. Exactly. The coat smells like blood, but it doesn't smell of... cigarette. If you would. No gunpowder. Okay. I thought we were gonna go with the fact that, hey, you shoot a gun, the blood spatters wouldn't be on the coat in a way, but... no gunpowder. Oh, don't blame yourself for not noticing. This was before your time. And not before your partner's, it seems. The gunpowder is weak by today's standards, but it's still volatile stuff, hard to store, prone to misfiring. And when it goes bang, it leaves behind an awful lot of evidence. You talk my ear off about how difficult it is tracking down a gun that doesn't leave digital traces. But a revolver like this one, I'd leave gunpowder on the skin if we were fired it for days. That's cool. If you don't trust your nose, you can check the lab reports. I think they found any gunpowder of my client or his clothes. They have taken the time to highlight it. That's not impossible, but it would be pretty pointless. In light of these details, I'd like to formally request that you reconsider the charges Mr. Flat is facing as soon as possible. All because of the smell of gunpowder. Or the lack of. They're faltering now, should topple over at any moment. The letter was mostly icing on the cake for them, but that gun is all they had to link Carlos to any of the shootings. So it looked like he never actually fired a gun. I'll admit, things are a little dicey there at times. But once I was able to grasp the situation, smaller pieces fell into place easily enough. Not my cleanest work by far, but overall I'd say... Did she get a message? Something you'd like to share, Detective Reyes? Thanks. It's so funny every time it zooms in. She's like, "Oh yeah, you want to fight me? You want to test me, bitch? You want to bet?" A photo shooter. If she had that, we wouldn't still be talking. But I doubt she's just pulling this out of her ass. She's got something from those scrubbers. Got Reyes. She must be bluffing. She must have something. I'm not sure I follow, Detective. Didn't we establish there was an optics blackout during the shooting? Oh. Good thing I held my tongue. As I thought, the scrubbers must have managed to dig up something from outside the network. Which means... like now I'm losing my credit. Well. Okay, the quality is lacking. But yet there it is. They managed to find a quarter needle of evidence to the whole city block of haystacks. What a goddamn chances. No, with the scale their tools operate on, I guess the chances are, as always, in their favor. Alright, this isn't good, but it's a far cry from the worst case scenario I envisioned. You can even say I got lucky, which means the stakes are... well, it's a little bit... Oh. Where to begin? Far away, unfocused, ultra low resolution, zoomed in, blurred, color shifted. And so compressed it looks like it's from another century. But I mean, we got the time in there at least. The clock, it looks like it's close to 9. Enhance this image any further and I could count the pixels on one hand. And you can kiss his admissibility and court goodbye. We can't honestly claim that you can identify my client from this image. And there's no way in hell you can get this past the judge. We have photo evidence of a left-handed shooter standing in the hallway at the same time. Oh man. You're referring to my client. Inside had no gunpowder whatsoever. Carlos is innocent. I know he is, but that photo shows a left-handed shooter. Carlos is innocent. If that photo is real, if both are true, why not? What happens if it's just mirrored? Maybe it's a photo taken. I mean, it could be a photo taken for like. I'm thinking maybe it's a photo they took, but it was facing the mirror, so the image is actually mirrored, and the clock should actually be on the right side, and. Or maybe the hand should be the other one. I have to look at the photo again. But that means the photo doesn't show what it appears to show. Never. I'm just confused about one thing. Where was this photo taken from exactly? And the perp shot from the room's doorway. Doorway looks kind of off here though. This looks like a mirror, honestly. I'm pretty sure they took the picture and it was supposed to be. The front entrance of the apartment faces to the south. There's a hallway that runs back to the bed. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty damn sure it's a mirror. So it's going from the blind, so it has to have been going from this angle here. Someone took a picture over here, and it took a picture through the window and saw it in the mirror. It's probably what happened, because... Or it could be the other angle. It could be from here to here, because otherwise, how the hell would the neighbor saw? This will come from the north window. Okay. From the north? This is from the north. And why can't we clearly see the... I gotta look where the clock was in the thing. Oh, first let me save my game again. Where was the clock? In evidence? Yeah, I need to look at the crime scene map. Shows the western window facing the eastern wall. Flash shards, pill, vase, crime scene map. I want to better look at it though. Code, victim. I kind of wish I could actually take a better look at it again. I'm pretty sure the clock wasn't where it's supposed to be. If she's wrong, she sees on an opportunity to start turning the tide. No. I'm gonna raise it. She's wrong. The photo was taken from the west.
I'm afraid it's simply not possible, Detective. This photo has to have been taken from the west. The good detectives are misinformed here. I need to take advantage of it. Time to press the initiative. Autopsy report tells us the victim was shot from the doorway. Your officer's ARC data tells us the precise location of everything in the room at the time they arrived. And now your photo has shown us the exact moment of the shooting.
Oh wow.
Altogether, this tells us the photo must have been taken to the west window, as long as you consider.
Pants, coat, no. Oh my god, I can't fold the cards properly. Oh, right, her shitty drawing. Yeah, mirror was upright. Clock was on the wall. Cushions and bed were neat. Yeah, that's the statement we need. Yeah, so it's photos because it took a picture of the clock on the wall.
Let's take one look at the clock in that photo. This photo was taken right before the shooting, so...
No. He's wrong. The time of death is correct.
But the answer is no. The autopsy, the clock, and the neighbors all agree the time of death was 9 p.m. There's a clock on the wall in this photo, analog style, and it reads 9 o'clock. There's nothing odd about the time the clock reads, but do you remember there being a clock in the room? That makes sense. You wouldn't recall seeing a clock, because when the police secured the scene, the clock had already been knocked onto the floor. The only clock in that room is in the northeastern corner. My client has informed me that before the crime, it was hung up on the eastern wall. Like so. An artistic rendition.
Show you my hand.
Just because the discovery law compels us to share info doesn't mean we have to play fair, Detective.
Flip my mind. I'll do that now. Yeah, the important thing is the clock was on the eastern wall before the shooting occurred. And this photo must have been looking through the western window. Yeah, guys. Boom, baby. We're on the right track.
You got your logic backwards, Detective. Your precious photo shows that the room was pristine at the time of the shooting. And there's one other piece of evidence that proves exactly how the cards fell.
Oh, I got this like little bar there, the vase. A mirror broken at crime scene. Shards fell onto the victim. Yeah, so if they were fighting before, then the victim fell on to the mirror.
Nothing much really, only that they're on top of the victim's body. And not under it. And she was dead on the ground before the room got trashed. It's a good question, Carlos. Luckily, it's the detectives who have to delve into the minds of the criminally insane, not us. Tell me, detectives, were there any signs of a struggle at the other crime scenes? What do you think when you saw the mess in the bedroom? Shit does happen, detective. But in this case, it seems there's been a general misconception about the order in which shit happened. I'm glad you do, detective, because that photo proves my client's innocence. Proving that it wasn't my client who pulled the trigger is difficult, and maybe more importantly for all of us, time-consuming. Thanks to your photo, I can instead prove that it couldn't have been my client who pulled the trigger. Because the man in that photo can't possibly be Carlos. Glass shards prove that the room was pristine at the time of the shooting. And we know that until the room was tossed, that clock was on the eastern wall, which means that this photo of the shooter was taken from the west. You're a very honest person, detective. That's why you're such a shitty gambler. You played your cards too early and now I can steal the pot right out from under you. You're right about the hallway's orientation. You're right about the prints. And this HK figure has claimed 6 lives. But we aren't looking at the hallway in that photo. What we're seeing is... victim stand-up mirror, yeah. Like those things. Optics. It is the mirror. Sort of. By the way, do you recall where those glass shards came from? From a standing mirror. A mirror that at the time of the shooting stood across the room from the western window. It would reflect the hallway. So we're not seeing a shooter with a gun in their left hand. We are seeing a killer take aim with their right arm. And as we know, my client hasn't had a working right arm in a number of weeks. And he hasn't worn his rental since this morning. So I meant what I said about that photo. I'm glad that it was recovered. Because it just proved that my client couldn't possibly have committed this crime. That should be the end of it. Except it looks like Detective Reyes really is a novice gambler. Some cause has got its teeth in her now, clawing up her spine, whispering wounded pride in her ear. It's a cold sweat, hot palms kind of fever. The impotent, irrational fury of losing something you thought was guaranteed yours. But lucky for you, Detective, I'm well versed in shock therapy. You look dissatisfied, Detective Reyes. And allow me to put a nice bow on everything for you. In summary, my client's so-called confession was just a note to self. The police found him in shock, reeling at the death of his girlfriend. They arrested him for being next to a gun he forensically couldn't have fired. After being confronted with these facts, he received photographic evidence of the exact moment of the shooting, and instead of utilizing said photo to track down a real killer, you tried to claim it depicted my client, a man without the requisite limb, standing in an architecturally impossible hallway. He could have had backup arm. A little stubbornness can be charming, but this kind of desperation is ugly. It's getting late. Time to bare my fang. A bit. That's the best you got? Even a bare bones prosthetic off the black market needs to be attuned to the individual's nervous system. He'd have to bring it to a clinic, which would have left a record on his shoulder OS. A record you won't find. And he still had to somehow have gotten rid of it before the police arrived. SOP at the scene of a violent crime calls for full spectrum scanning of the entire building and 100 meters around it minimum. So where, Detective Reyes, did he manage to hide a cybernetic arm from your drones in the time between the shooting and his arrest? Well,
Oh, she looks pissed. Any objections? Detective. And so our opponent folds. Detective? That's kind of you to say, detective. But my work gets its own reward. I'll have to speak with the DA about the dismissal. And there's still some paperwork we'll need to go through. But basically, you're free to go. Congrats, you get to leave the casino with your kneecaps intact. The detectives will continue their investigation. Yes. When the authorities are satisfied with the examination of the body, she'll be handed over to the next of kin. And then you can make funeral arrangements. People die of the flu all the time, but I know what you mean. Hell if I know. I'm not a psychologist or, a counselor. I'm a defense lawyer. There are some contacts I could give you. Services, professionals, doctors. You're welcome, Carlos, but it's my job, too. Oh, Carlos. I didn't need to ask. I knew you were innocent from the start. Of course he was. After all... Wait, oh, okay, wow, okay. I was like, no, wait. Are they gonna do the twist? Blood's always different. Heart's always in the same place. Easy to find, hard to miss. But the blood's always different. A flowering stain unfurling towards an invisible sun. A perfect, unique bloom, only one for each of us. A Rorschach test with singular universal meaning. Vitality at its climax. Bursting forth into a red fractal consisting solely of an infinite the end. But the comical thud of a body hitting the floor has its own kind of lowbrow appeal. I'm like, seriously? That's... She bad. It's useless to me, Emma. May as well leave. Wow, okay. I was not expecting it. Feels like a waste, but whatever. Finding the ammo is almost enough of a hassle to outweigh the advantages. I could sell an untagged gun for a fair bit of cash. But cash can't buy you peace of mind. Oh, don't look so surprised, lady. Moping around the dark in here, must have only been able to see my silhouette. Did she think I was her boyfriend, back for an encore of that enthralling conversation? Can't ask her now. Those old pieces are so goddamn loud. And people aren't even familiar enough with the sound anymore to know to run the other way. Probably roused half the neighborhood. But I didn't see anything I could use as even a partial suppressor on the way in. They're really not for some throw pillows. I used the other 5 bullets in outdoor spaces, in small spheres of blind opportunity that the city's eyes couldn't think to pierce. Cramped places, usually full of trash.
But this room, as cheap as it looks, is at least clean organized even. The corpse adds a certain satisfying contrast. Except there's shit on the floor. By the window, there's broken pieces of something fragile and tacky. It's fine. It's just one thing out of place. Actually, it's not fine. It's actually really irritating. I kick over the stupid goddamn mirror. 5 perfect crime scenes, each of them not a speck of evidence, nothing to go on. And for the final shot, there just has to be some pile of shit in the corner ruining everything. I kick the wall. Something falls from it. Probably more tasteless bullshit. I toss over the chair, knock the urn. Tear into the sheets with my frustration and try to savor the shredding. If it can't be clean, I'll just have to lean into the messy angle. At least it will be consistent. This is all so stupid. Honestly, I'm not the ego-driven type. In fact, I pride myself on my humility. Now, was it satisfying when the first 3 went down with single shots? Yes. But so what? I'm not made of stone. After that, I did start to actively aim for the heart, but... ugh. Heartbreak killer? Really? Don't people have anything better to do with their time? What kind of miserable, lifeless voyeurs would obsess over something that's none of their business? All the threads and breakdowns and the goddamn theory crafting. And all for the heartbreak killer. Sounds like a soap opera villain from a season where the writers were on strike. I feel insulted by the label, but no, that's someone else's name. They came up with it. They spread it. They marketed it. Heartbreak's got nothing to do with me. He's just some reclusive, lonely, socially impotent loser who shot 6 people because... well, I'm sure people will come up with something. That he got rejected 1 too many times or whatever. Me, I killed those people because I saw them and I wanted to. And I've killed a lot more than just 6. At least the room is thoroughly trashed now. If I just walked away after seeing that mess by the window, it would have irritated me to no end. And now that doesn't match the MO of the last 5 perfectly, it'll irritate the cops to no end. Good riddance, Heartbreak. You enjoy your 15 minutes in the spotlight. Really savor it. I'm going home. The air is weighty tonight. Thick. Energized. A heavily foreshadowed summer rain I can feel on every hair. They call this kind of humidity oppressive, but I disagree. The warm tension on your skin, like in those short moments just after the shower turns off, when steam lingers. Yeah, it's always most comfortable right afterward. Maybe there's just no disagreement to be had. Oppressive things can be comforting too. Only the guilty ones run. I don't know about that. I know I've never felt guilty about any of this. And I walk. Oh man, alright. The killer was right under our nose all along. That's okay, you can just initial no spots. I took a scenic route home, courtesy of our fine city's sprawling public transportation, and got in a bit after 11 p.m. Had myself a thorough shower, drank a glass of milk, did some stretching. Made sure my phone was on. Time went by evenly. Around 1:40 a.m. a posting for public defender work came up. Decent rate, since it was so late and so urgent. I had wagered correctly that the boyfriend would have enough sense to ask for a lawyer, and enough debt that he needed to be provided one. All I had to do was stay awake. There wasn't much competition after 1 in the morning. Here and here. How did I phrase it earlier? Criminal defense attorneys aren't exactly flush for customers. Why wouldn't I take on a job where I already knew more than the cops? It would have been easy to convince Carlos to plead out. I would have gotten paid the same too. But easy is dangerous. Carlos was of course innocent, so his conviction would never be all airtight. There would be doubts, questions, appeals. Maybe even fans, depending on his looks. More attention on HK and his crimes. More headaches. A cold case rotting in the very far back of the public awareness is always preferable to one open and shut in haste. Now, with no more murders matching HK's MO, there wouldn't be any additional public pressure to find a culprit. Now Heartbreak can just starve to death, out of the sight and mind like any other fluke in the system. Almost done. Getting involved with the case this intimately does have its risk. Hell, I might have even overdone things here or there. Like lighting up a smoke inside an interrogation room, just to make doubly sure I didn't still smell of gunpowder myself. That London fellow seems more fixated on it than I would have liked. But obviously, everything turned out rosy. And it's worth it for the finality of all. Seeing the authorities' failings from the best seat in the house, that's just a bonus. Funny, I didn't even know her name. Something the matter? Death was instantaneous, Carlos. I can't imagine that she was in any pain. In fact, I can guarantee she was dead before she hit the ground. I can present evidence. Do I have evidence? Autopsy report, the debris, the fidget tubbies, the code, the note, the rental. A common brand of pill organizer. Contains number of prescription over-counter immune adjusters. Reduced discomfort from mod sensitivity. Okay, so that's probably... Tell you the truth, Carlos, there's something I've been wondering about myself. Something I noticed in the ARC's data that I didn't quite understand. A piece of the puzzle I couldn't fit in anywhere else. But maybe you can make sense of it. Here are the pills. I think they were for you. That pill organizer was found on the victim. She had it grasped in her hand when she died. Obviously, the police added it to the ARCs, but it was quickly ruled irrelevant. Seems like it can train triprexazone, prescribed to help martyrs with phantom itches. They're small tablets, and those are tricky class too from a pill organizer. Could be hard to handle with an unsteady hand. No one will ever know what she was feeling when she died. Even if they did, feelings are complicated. You can feel happy, angry, and sad all at the same time. But as far as facts are concerned, it would appear that when she died, what she was doing was setting out your medications for the week. To my eyes, anyway. Well, at least he can put his mind at ease. Even though it's like... the irony of his girlfriend's killer literally standing right in front of him. Long night. That was too far just now. Practically rubbing it in his face. It's not like I care about his feelings. I doubt I'll ever even see him again. But overstepping like that is pure hubris. And hubris invites a downfall. So why? Why did I even bother? It was the last piece of the puzzle, I suppose. I'll just need to show more restraint next time. So there won't be a next time for Heartbreak. The gun's in custody, there's no more bullets left. There won't be a seventh victim, there won't be any more leads to pursue. The media will move on to the next succession. I'll move on to my next MO. And no one will ever... District Attorney Rockford. By all means. Thank you. Pardon? Assistant District Attorney Emma Rockford. She's a prosecutor, the lawyer who argues for the state in court, trying to prove a defendant's guilt. And despite her sometimes unkempt appearance, she's probably the sharpest person to fill the position in decades. I should know, since I haven't beaten her once. Worse yet, she has the remarkable ability to compartmentalize all that adversarial energy and only bring it out in the courtroom. It's part of what makes her good at her job. Hard for me to read. What have they got you doing at this ungodly hour, Emma? Me? Well then, you must have been relieved finding out that you won't have to go to trial against me. It's always the unintended barbs with her. So you're working with those detectives? Preparation for trial? That seems ambitious. Hard to kill while leaving so little behind. The Reyes told you they had HK in custody and you popped out of bed all excited to run down here? 40 hours, girl. You're gonna start hallucinating with that lack of sleep. No. He's not using his middle name. But I can answer that any number of ways. It could have been flat. Victim's blood on sleeve, no gunpowder found. How do we want to answer this? Rental stiffen on UD. Fingers can't bend. It could have been him. No gunpowder was found. You glanced at it. No gunpowder residue on him or his clothes. Right. Dominant arm modded. Too tall for the ballistic entry angle. She got all that from a glance. Of course. Worst part is she's not even being sarcastic. Profile. I know what goddamn profile is. Or before they even leave the house. Sure, about profiling. How about that? So this profiling, it's some kind of investigative technique? Detectives say HK doesn't leave evidence. So how much can his crimes possibly tell you? It's weird to see her just animated outside the courtroom. It's almost like she's enjoying herself. A sheltered house cat who picked up on the scent of a mouse for the first time. All her playfully lethal instincts coming to life. So I'm not thrilled about the fact that in that metaphor, I would be the... Definitely. Detectives said that HK would have needed insider information on optics. So does that mean heartbreaks in law enforcement? Oh. And the social independent advice authority. Right, that's exactly how I'd put it. Insert themselves. I do not. I don't do anything even resembling that. Wait, if HK's not a cop, how do they know about the blackout timing? Pardon? Take the emergency response time. That is such an unpleasant thought, Emma. Well, at least this heartbreak maniac was slowed down now that he's lost his weapon. Were there any other shootings with the same MO? Other victims that fit the description? That's true. Do they now? Do they look like her? I hadn't thought about it. You got something catchier in mind? Perfection. A mistake? Are you talking about the crime scene? Based on what you said, I don't blame them. Whoever trashed that room doesn't seem like the smooth operator you've been describing. I don't follow. You make them sound like a child. Your profile tell you all that? So to summarize, you're looking for a cold-blooded, faceless, perfectionist killer who you think has no persistent MO or victim type. Well, good luck. I'm sure the city would be happy to provide you with more resources. Oh. Not a very fair trade, is it? Fair enough. Don't worry about it. I'm always happy to listen to you ramble. It's a lot more pleasant than having to face you in the courtroom. No hard feelings. She says she looks like she's plotting to kill her. We're both just doing what we do. I could use a cup of coffee. How about you? If you fall asleep face first onto the table, I won't even take a picture. Heartbreak won't claim any more victims. In 2 weeks, the media will have moved on to the next sensation. And the police will have moved on to cases they actually stand a chance of closing. It's what people do. But Emma is different. She'll set it aside and work on dozen other cases, never bringing it up. Where a private corner of that frustratingly sharp mind of hers will continue to whittle away at it. Never finishing, but never quitting either. So I can't afford to take my eyes off of her. As long as that's the case, I may as well try to enjoy the view. And that was episode 0 end. Ooh. Who are you? Android?
Which means you could be living with my friend for a while. Huh. Oh, so she's gonna be living at Morgan. Well, that was an interesting demo, or like I guess like a prologue to the game. I did like a lot of things in it. I feel like the music was really fitting, kind of like with. It does remind me a lot of the Dangan series. And then the way the evidence is presented, I wasn't a big fan of some of the UI. Like when I was trying to select evidence, it's really hard trying to select the correct one because I just end up hovering over the incorrect piece of evidence instead. But it's kind of interesting how it is laid out, like playing cards. Also very stylistic UI. So a lot of the art, colors, UI style did remind me of Danganronpa, just with the less bullet firing mechanics and more of a poker card playing theme instead, for which I thought was pretty interesting. And of course, Ace Attorney coming in with, being a defense lawyer, but I did not expect that twist at the end, but I think it's very interesting to have that where, it turns out the killer is right in front of us. We are literally the killer. And yeah, did not expect that. I was like, oh, we're Carlos is gonna be innocent, so are we gonna find the actual killer? And then it's like, oh, actually, the actual killer, we're looking at her. And Morgan's a cool character too. She, comes. I mean, aside from her thing that she goes around killing people as like a perfectionist and stuff, it was kind of really cool to see her calm and cool attitude at work when piecing together all the puzzle pieces and solving. Solving, I guess, the crime, but oh. I get to the other characters here. Oh, the Devil, episode 1. I don't mind. Yeah, Morgan was a very interesting character. And it's just like, oh wow, who knew that she knew all of the evidence leading up to, like, oh no, my results. 18 outing, 17 pieces of evidence, 29 total credits. Congratulations, you finished episode 0 with 29 credits. Yeah, I lost some because I made the wrong choice twice. Bone charms and case colors. That's kind of cute. Bonus scenarios. What are those? Oh, okay. Morgan interview. Okay, just like different other interview stuff. Okay, that's kind of neat. But yeah, a lot of the cyberpunk aesthetics as well. all coming in. A lot of terminology that was at play here that showed up, and I'm like, I can't keep track of everything, but you know what? It was still enough information for me to be able to finish the game, solve the case. So pretty strong start, I'd say. Overall, it was pretty good. But yeah, my only issue was with the UI at some times, but in terms of everything unfolding, I quite liked it. So yeah, that was Of the Devil. I'll debate on playing episode 1, because I mean, this is a really good start. Episode 0, I don't know how long, how many episodes the developers will come up with, but this was a pretty strong start, I would say, to this game so far. So yeah, you can find this game on Steam, and maybe I'll play episode 1, maybe not, depending on my mood. And thank you everyone for joining me tonight here. I hope that you enjoyed the story along with me. Check out this game yourself if you're interested. And I'll see you all in the next stream or video. So until next time then, you guys, this is Koa Miyo clocking out. Bye bye!